E.L.V. here. Today I'm here for my nursing students. We are going to be talking about rounding. Yes, rounding. If you've seen your typical medication calculation questions, there is an extra clause at the end of it that says round your answer to the nearest whole number or to the nearest tenth or to the nearest hundred. And that's kind of where it gets shaky. Like you're good, you get the whole calculation part down, but the rounding part, I know. The last time we talked about that was probably in high school, yeah? So we've forgotten it. So today, let's just do a quick review of rounding because it is very, very important. So if you are ready, let's go ahead and dive right into the video. You're gonna enjoy it. Yeah. Oh, guys. So there are four rounding rules that I want us to pay attention to. We're gonna talk about that. So rounding rules. And there's four of them. So the first one is you want to find the place. And second, you want to lock the door to the nest. You want to lock the nest door. And then three, you want to, if it's five or more, if the number is five or more, you're going to add one. And if it's four or less, you're going to leave it or just like erase it. All right. I know this sounds a bit random and you're like, what does this even mean? But we are going to, it's going to make sense as we go along. All right. So just roll with me. Okay. So I'm just going to take this rule. I'm going to keep it to the side. So we always have it to refer to. We're just going to keep it right here. All right. So if our question were to say, they want us to round to the nearest whole number. All right. So we're going to be rounding to the nearest number. So rounding to the nearest whole number basically means, what is a whole number? First of all, that's why let's understand that. A whole number is a number without a decimal. So for example, 1 is a whole number, 10 is a whole number, 100 is a whole number, 1,000 is a whole number, 1 million is a whole number. All right, I don't care how big the number is. As long as there is no decimal point, like I don't have that dot, that is what makes it a whole number. All right, 50 is a whole number. 40 is a whole number. All right. 77 is a whole number. 85 is a whole number. All right. 5 is a whole number. I don't care what the number is. What makes it a whole number is because there is no decimal point. So when a question tells you at the end of your medication calculation, it says round this to the nearest whole number, they basically say get rid of the decimal point. That's basically what a whole number is saying. A whole number says get rid, round it to the whole number equals get rid of the decimal. Like we don't want to say the decimal, get rid of it. That's pretty much what that's saying to you. All right. That's what you're saying to you. So let's actually do some examples. I have 32.6 as my sample question. All right. So what is this going to be if I round it to the nearest number? All right, let's look at our rules. Our rule says find the place. So first of all, what is rounding to the whole number? Again, it means get rid of the what? The decimal, right? So here is the decimal point. All right, so basically I need my answer to end before the decimal. All right, so that is rule 1. Find the place. All right, I need my answer to end right here. This decimal point and this number, they gotta go. So I lock the nest door. So that's locking the door. I have found where it is, and I've locked the door with this line. So what then do I do about this 0.6, about this 6 here? I can just throw it away. So that takes us to our next step. 5 or more. Is it 5 or more? See, when we're talking about rounding, our magic number is the number 5. Your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is your magic number. Don't forget it. All right. Just if you forget, just think about I have 5 fingers. I mean, on one hand. All right. So if the number is 5, or more, I can work with it. All right. So in this situation, we have 6. All right. 6 is good. 6 is more than 5. And what does it say I should do if it's 5 or more? Add 1. What does that look like? We call that rounding up. So basically, this 6 is going to come here in form of plus 1 to my very next number. All right. So this becomes 33. That is how I get rid of my decimal, and this is now a whole number. No more decimal point, and it's whole. Accrue? All right. So another question we have is 49.91. All right. How do I get this to the whole number? Okay. So rule 1 says find the place. Where do I want my answer to hand? It needs to hand right here, right before the decimal, because it's a whole number. A whole number says get rid of the decimal point, right? So this is the number before the decimal. I need to get rid of this decimal and all these numbers. So I lock the door. Everything behind cannot come in. All right, I need to lock my door. So I look at this immediate number. So in the question we had before, we only had 1 number right behind it, but this situation, we have 2 numbers. All right, don't concern yourself with this other number. You want to focus on the number right next to your door. This is my door. What's the number close to your door? This one. That's the one you're dealing with. Okay, so then that takes us to rule number 3. Rule number 3 says 5 or more, add 1. Is 9 more than 5? Or is it at least 5? Yes, and it's even more than 5. So that means it can become what? Plus 1. All right. So adding 1 to 9, right, that's going to make it 10. So this goes all the way to 50. All right, so 49.91 rounds to the nearest whole number is going to be 50. Okay. Another one is 2.37. So if I have 2.37 and I want to round that to the nearest whole number. So again, the first rule is find your place, find the place. So this is where my answer needs to hand. Everything behind the decimal needs to go, because that's what a whole number is. A whole number means get rid of the decimal point. Okay, so my answer got to stop here. So we're going to lock that door right there. We're going to lock the door. So again, you deal with the number behind your door, the immediate number behind the door, not the one farther from it. So I really don't have any business with 7, but I do have business with 3. Okay. So I've locked my door. That takes me to rule number 3. Rule number 3 says 5 or more had 1. Unfortunately, 3 is not even up to 5. So I can't add 1. So we have to go to rule 4 this time around. Rule 4 then says 4 or less, leave it. And yeah, that's 3. It's less than, it's 4. It's less than 4. It's not up to 5. So I can't really use it for anything. It can become plus 1 over here. So it's just useless to me. All right, it's X. So therefore, my final answer, rounded this to the nearest whole number, is pretty much 2. All right, the 3 to 7, I have no use for them. They go. All right, this is 2 to the nearest whole number. Okay, so the next one we're going to look at is rounding to the nearest tenth or 1 decimal place. So don't get confused. Sometimes they might say round to the nearest tenth, and sometimes they say 1 decimal place. We're talking about the same thing. All right, so if you see either of those, it's still the same. So we said earlier that when they say round to the nearest whole number, they're basically saying get rid of the decimal. Well, when it comes to the tenth, we're not getting rid of the decimal. This time around, we need 1 number after the decimal. And equals, I have 1 number after the decimal. All right, only 1. I have only 1 number after the decimal. I had that only by behind there, so we get it. All right, I have only 1 number after the decimal point. Okay, so what does a tenth look like? So a tenth is this: 1.0. 1, 5.2, 5.4, 8.9, 111.5. All right. 2005.7. 28.7. Okay. What's the common similarity between these things? The similarity is that they all have one number after the decimal. I don't care how many numbers is in front of the decimal, but I'm focused on the number after the decimal. All right, there's just one number after this: 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. All right, the goal is to always have one number only after my decimal point. All right, so you ready for some practice? Let's do this. So we have 71.841. All right, this looks nice, I know. So what is our 10th again? 10 says I have only one number after the decimal. And the first rule is to find the place. All right. So if I want just one number after my decimal, this is where my answer needs to end, after my decimal, right? That's the decimal point. That's the number right behind it. That's where my answer needs to end. So it takes me to the next rule, lock the door. I lock the door. So what do I do about this 4 and 1 over here? Well, it takes us to root 3. Root 3 says, especially this 4, okay? Remember, we always deal with the number immediately after, okay? So root 3 says 5 or more, add 1. Well, this is 4. It's not up to 5, right? So it takes me to root 4. Root 4 says 4 or less, leave it. Well, this is 4. It happens to be 4. So we're just going to go ahead and, you know what? It's useless to us. We cannot use it. So erase it. All right. So we're going to erase this out. And our final answer will basically be to the nearest tenth, or to the one decimal place, it will be 71.8. Okay. I hope you got that. So the next one we have is 9.03. Okay, so let's look at this one together. So again, 10th means I have only one number after the decimal. So this is my decimal. This is the number after my decimal. I find a place right there and I lock the door and I look at this number. Is it up to 5? No, it's less than 5. So I don't need it. So I would just go ahead and erase that. All right, so the right answer is basically 9.0, which could easily just be written as 9. All right, you don't even need to have the 0.0. It's also same as 9. All right, another example for you rounding to your 10th is 45.47. Okay, so that also means basically having one decimal after my one number after my decimal. So this is my decimal. This is the number after my decimal. That's my place. I lock the door right behind it. All right. And this number, it's 7. Takes me to root 3. Is it 5 or more? Yes, it's 7. It's 5. It's up to 5 and greater than 5. So that means I can do what? I can add 1. So I can bring it over here. It becomes plus 1. All right, so this then becomes 45.5. All right, so this will be my answer for this, round to the nearest 10th place, because I have just one number after the decimal. All right, so I really hope you got that. So finally, we're going to look at rounding to the nearest 100th place. So rounding to the nearest 100 sometimes is also called round to the nearest 2 decimal places. All right, just the same way to the nearest 10th was also called 1 decimal place, because one number has to be after the decimal. The 100, sometimes it's said round to the nearest 2 decimal places, they're still talking about 100. So what does the 100 place look like? The 100 place looks like this. So this is 121.45. All right, 2 numbers after your decimals. It could be 100, 2 numbers. Okay, 1000.89, 2 numbers, 2.45, 8.32. Okay, the goal here is have two numbers after your decimal. All right, have two numbers after the decimal. So basically the 100 place or two decimal place basically means have only two numbers after the decimal point. Okay, so we have 100.185. Okay, so we're using the exact same rules, guys. So this is 100.185. So the question is, the first rule is find the place. Again, 100 place means I have only two numbers after my decimal. So this is my decimal, number one, number two. All right, this is the second number after my decimal. My answer needs to end here, so I'm gonna lock my gate. Okay, so what do we do about this 5 that is left? Okay, I go to my next rule. It says 5 or more add 1. Luckily, this is 5 on the dot. Okay, so that means it can come over to this place as plus 1. So that means rounded to the nearest 100th place or two decimal place, this answer will be 100.19. All right, so that would be our answer, a final answer for this. All right. What if we have 52.3589? All right, a lot of numbers, I know, but again, it's still the same exact rules, guys. So 100 place means I have only two numbers after the decimal. So two numbers after the decimal. So my answer got a hand right here. All right, I lock my gate. I lock the door. What am I going to do about these other numbers? Again, focus on the immediate number after your gate. Don't really focus on this other one. Focus on the immediate one. So this is 8, right? It's 5 or more. So it can come over here as plus 1. So that means my answer would be 52.36. All right. So finally, one more, we're gonna have 3.509, rounding that to the nearest 100 place or two decimal places. Once again, go ahead and find your place. All right, that's my decimal, two numbers after the decimal, stops right there. I lock the next door. What do I do about my 9? It's up to 5 and more, so it can come over here plus 1. So my answer is going to be 3.51. Okay, so that is, guys, literally how to do your rounding. All right. What if I wanted to test you and say take it to the nearest 1,000? Easy, 1,000, 3 numbers after your decimal. Okay. All right. So this time around, you just got to make sure that you lock the door after the third number after the decimal. All right. So we're going to be rounding the following question. Numbers to the nearest whole number. So I would strongly recommend that you probably grab a paper, grab a pen and do this with me. All right. You can feel free to pause the video and do it by yourself and figure out if you have the right answer. Okay, before you move on to the next one. I will give you a few minutes to do it that. All right. So our first one is 53.93. Round to the nearest whole number. What should your answer be? To the nearest whole number. So that should be 54. All right, 54. If you didn't get that, we probably need to revise this. Okay, you should lock the gate before the decimal, because remember, with whole number, we need to get rid of the decimal. So you should have locked the gate right here. And this is the immediate number. It's up to 5 and more. So we can bring it over here. It becomes plus 1, right? And this becomes 54. Make sense? All right, moving on to the next one. we have 66.21. What would that be to the nearest whole number? It's the nearest whole number. All right, your right answer should be 66. All right, 66. Because again, round to the nearest whole number, my answer is to stop right here because I don't want a decimal at all. I need to get rid of it. So I lock the door. This is my next number. Is it up to 5? No. If it's not up to 5, I get rid of it. All right, so I'm left with 66. Okay. The next one is 1.43. 1.43. Round this to the nearest whole number, please. The correct answer should be 1. All right. How did we get that? Again, my answer should stop right here before the decimal point. I lock the door. What am I going to do with this 4? It's not up to 5, so it's useless to me, along with the number behind it. So I cross that out. I'm left with just 1. All right, 79.95. Round to the nearest whole number, please. Your right answer should be 80. All right, so again, this is when my answer should stop before the decimal because I'm trying to get rid of the decimal. So this next number right here is up to 5 and more. So I can bring it over here. It becomes plus 1. All right, and that's going to become 10 and A. That's going to become 80, right? All righty. One more, if I have 0.555, round to the nearest whole number. Nearest whole number. This is going to become 1. Okay, so again, my decimal stops. My answer want to stop right because I'm trying to get rid of my answer stops right here because I'm trying to get rid of the decimal. All right, so we lock the door. I'm going to deal with the immediate number right after my door. It's up to 5. I can bring it over here, plus 1. And 0 plus 1 happens to be 1. You ready for rounding to the 10th place? Okay, so if I have 20.36, round that to the nearest 10th. What's our answer going to be? Your answer should be 20.4. All right, remember with the 10th place, you need at least one decimal behind, one number rather, behind your decimal point. All right, so again, we pretty much got that by, this is my decimal point. This is the one number behind it. I stop right here. I lock the door. What am I going to do with this 6? Luckily, it's up to 5 and more. So I bring it over here. It becomes plus 1. So that gives us our 20 plus 4.4. All right. Ready for the next one? If we had 82.713, let's round that to the nearest 10th. Or 1 decimal place, also known as 1 decimal place. So you're writing this answer should be 82.7. Okay, so you can easily, again, my answer stops right here. 1 number after the decimal. I lock my door. 1 is not up to 5, so I can't round it up to become plus 1. So it's useless to me. Both 1 and 3. So my answer is 82.7. All right, so if we have 0.78, let's round it to the nearest 10th. Your right answer should be 0.8. All right, so once again, This is the one number after my decimal point. I lock my door. Luckily, this is 8 and up to 5 and more. So it can come over here and become plus 1. So that becomes 0.8. If this number 8 was not up to 8, let's say it was like 4. So if we had like 0.74, I would have just thrown it away and my answer would have been 0.7. It would remain 0.7 because the 4 is useless to me. All right. We're going to do one more. So we have 3.421. 3.421. So once again, your right answer should be 3.4. Okay. So this is where my answer should stop. One number after the decimal, lock my gate. 2 is not up to 5. So I get rid of it. All right. So that is 10th place. I had 87.5438. Let's round that to the nearest 100th place, also known as 2 decimal places. So the right answer should be 87.54. All right. So wait, how did we get that? So 2 numbers after my decimal, my answer should end right here at 4. I lock my gate. 3 is my immediate number. It's not up to 5. I can't use it. It's useless. Okay. What about if we had sorry about that. 19.129. 19.129. Your right answer should be 19.13. Okay. 2 numbers after your decimal, your answer should have ended here. Lock your gate. This is 9. Good number for me because it's 5 or more, right? So it can come over here. It becomes plus 1. And that's why this becomes 3. Okay. And finally, 73.414. Rounding to the nearest 100 place, also known as 2 decimal places. Your final answer should be, drum roll, 73.41. All right. Because again, we're going to end right here. Lock our gate. 4 is useless to me. Get rid of it. It's not up to 5. Hope that you learned something. I hope your rounding gets better from now on. All right, you can watch this video again, do some practice, go online, download, practice questions on rounding, and do a lot of practice because practice makes what makes perfect. And guys, knowledge is active. All right, you can't just let something once and throw it aside. You gotta actively practice it and get better. If you do have any other questions, let me know in the comment section, and please feel free to share this video with someone else, and I will see you on the next one. And I wish you great success and good luck in nursing school. I know nursing school can be so hard, but you got it. You got it. Okay.